We are Gold Ivy, a health company dedicated to simplifying health and wellness. Tune in as we search to find the deep, real, and raw truth. We're here to talk big, no room for small talk. It is our mission to inspire, seek growth, simplify the action steps, and build confidence.
You decide what works for your daily life and how to transform our lessons into your gold. Are you ready to step into your power? Now is the time. Join us on the fearless pursuit of self-discovery and growth.
This is Ivy Unleashed,
a Gold Ivy production.
If you're a regular listener of the show, or you follow us on social media, you know I, Brooke, just ran my first marathon, and Andrea ran her 22nd state in her goal to run a marathon in every state. How did I go from barely getting out of bed to being able to run 26.2 miles? A customized training plan and coaching with Andrea. With my health concerns, it was important for me to make sure I crossed that finish line safely and confidently.
We are so excited to announce that we are now offering customized training plans. Whether you're wanting to run a 5K, 10K, half, or full marathon, we've got you covered. Get your customized training plan plus coaching to get you race ready and keep you motivated along the way. Prior to receiving your training plan, you will meet with me, Andrea, for a 15-minute call to discuss your goals, race details, and schedule your 3 coaching calls. You will receive a training plan for your race, tailored to your schedule, endurance, and cross-training preferences like yoga, biking, strength, or whatever movement you enjoy.
Coaching throughout your training will provide accountability, safety, and inspiration to keep you pursuing your training and race goals. With Andrea, you will connect your mind and body to maximize your race experience. And if you're looking for a custom training plan without coaching, we're offering that as well. Head over to the shop page on our website, goldivyhealthco.com, to learn more and get you across that finish line.
Surprise! We dropped an episode on our break. Every year, Brooke and I take a few months off to do a little business strategy, create the next season's lineup, and let me just say, starting January 1st, 2023, Season 3 is going to be jam-packed full of topics and guests that are going to inspire, empower, and motivate you. We are so happy to have a platform where you feel comfortable sharing your stories of resilience and growth, and today is no different. We sat down with Jolene and Ray Law. You may recognize their voices from previous episodes, but today they're together discussing their experience of completing 75 hard. Today's episode dives into the details of their challenge, why they feel their previous attempts didn't work, lessons from giving up alcohol for 75 days, and why they feel it would be beneficial for others to try it too. Tune in tomorrow, November 24th, 2022, to hear the next phases of 75 Hard, the lessons Jolene and Ray learned about their support system, and you'll hear some hard questions and valuable thoughts that this strong married couple don't shy away from. Congratulations, Jolene and Ray, for finishing 75 Hard. Happy anniversary, and thank you for sharing your personal reflections with us. And now to today's surprise episode of Ivy Unleashed.
Welcome back to Ivy Unleashed. If you are a regular listener of the show, you're probably wondering what we are doing appearing with a new episode, because we are supposed to be taking a break right now. But we were blessed with the presence of 2 incredible humans who happen to be married. Both have been on Ivy Unleashed before, and they're going to talk us through their experience with 75 Hard, because they both did it. Jolene and Ray Law, welcome back to Ivy Unleashed.
Thank you.
Hi.
Let's give him a slow clap.
You don't clap
You
for yourself.
75 hard. 75 days of just being disciplined. And we're going to get into it. And the first thing we have to do is talk about what 75 hard is. Like, this is a challenge. And what do you have to do each day for 75 days to complete it?
You want me to take this one?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So there's 2 45-minute workouts. They have to be 2 to 3 hours apart, and one of them has to be outside no matter what. Drink a gallon of water. It's just the gallon. You can't put like any flavoring, anything like that into it. 10 pages of a personal development book, progress picture, follow a diet, no cheat meals, no alcohol. That's it.
Okay.
But those are the rules.
And just one thing I want to note is we're letting our 5 children run wild in this house. Usually I make my family leave. So you may hear a little child running around. They're playing. They're like little besties, and it's so cute. So, okay. Wow. And so you have to do all of those things 75 days in a row, or you have to start over.
Yep. If you fail on day 68, you go back. I did that 2 years ago. You go back to day 1.
Oh,
Yeah. And you both have done it before.
No.
Or no, you, Ray, you've done it. You've attempted.
Both tried, yes.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get. You've both attempted.
This was my 108th attempt.
wow.
Because there's been like a shit ton of times where I've done like a day and been like, fuck, I'm not doing this.
What was different this time around?
I saw her doing it. And like we talked about, I don't know, was it 8 weeks ago? Just like the year I had, I let like all my good habits go, minus like the working out. And like I have goals for myself, and you know, so does she. And I think I put in that post, I'm like, if I can't finish this, I have no right like starting a business or trying to do that or help other people do those things. So
Okay. So you were like, this is really important for you to complete and finish.
correct. It was, I had a deal with myself. It was the last time I was going to try.
And Jolene, you started it first. So why did you want to do this?
I had a couple of reasons. I think okay, this is my second real attempt at trying this. I think the first time I made it through 48 days, and I was like, okay, I learned my lessons. Like, I'm going to continue on this momentum. I got, what I need to learn from this. And then I didn't. I fell off. And
48 days, though, is
Yeah.
a long time.
And doing all of those things.
Yep. And it was tiring, exhausting, like it's meant to be. But now this time around, it's probably a year later. Well, about a year
you tried it
later.
at the start of the year. We both tried it at the same time, like right around January. And you
Well,
made
I
it to,
mean, like my first,
oh, okay, yeah.
like actual attempt where I'm like, I'm doing this. That's how I count it, as like I'm attempting. This is my second attempt. And really physically, I was just uncomfortable in my clothes. And I actually don't even know how much I weighed when I started, because that wasn't important to me. It was like how I felt in my swimsuit and my clothes, just trying to pull things over to be comfortable. And I wasn't. For me, the drinking was something that I was like, this is probably not healthy. Where, I mean, we both were, but I was drinking probably every night, a lot by myself or with him. We would be in the same house. We weren't drinking together, but like, we'd be in the same house drinking, different levels, but like that's not healthy. And so all these things, I wanted a kickstart and something just to rip the Band-Aid off, something hard to start and get those habits going again. Something to hurt. I needed something to hurt to get back on track.
Yeah, that's really interesting that that's how you got there. I think that's very normal. A lot of people drink every night at home and no one knows, or they just are in this habit. They're in this funk. Their body is probably even addicted to it. And so doing something like this, which is very extreme. But first I want to back up just to say who created this. And it's Andy Frisella.
Correct. And the big thing, like I hear from a lot of people, is they think it's like a fitness challenge, and it's not. And because like you can literally go for 2 walks every day for 45 minutes, or do yoga twice a day for 45 minutes. One of them would obviously have to be outside, but there's nothing in there that says you have to lift, you have to run, you have to do CrossFit, you have to do X, Y, Z.
That's cool.
It is just 2 45-minute workouts. Like there was somebody I saw, because I follow the hashtag, they're in a wheelchair. They just wheeled themselves around their block for their 2 45-minute workouts. So it's not a fitness challenge. And I think was my turning point, was realizing that about 10 days in.
Yeah. And he even says it's a transformative mental toughness program. So it's really the mindset work is what you told us 8 weeks ago when we chatted about this. But when you're seeing progress pictures that you're posting online, right, we're seeing this progress of, oh, now you got your 6-pack back. Oh, now you got your 8-pack back. So describe like the other results of what you've noticed in terms of the mental toughness.
You want to go first?
Sure. I think for one, obviously, like you said, the physical, you can definitely see that. So it looks like a fitness challenge. It looks like a fitness. You can see the fitness change, really. For me, I think the first time I tried it, I was angry. Like I was angry at myself because I wasn't getting up early. I wasn't prioritizing my time. And so then I'm trying to do my workouts at 6 a.m. while my kids are hungry and asking for breakfast and, screaming, and I'm yelling at them. And like, this is not healthy. But now this time around, I needed to prioritize my time better and just carve out time for myself. And now not wake up at 6 o'clock, wake up at 5 o'clock. And now 5 o'clock isn't that early. I need to wake up at 4:40 in the morning just to have that hour to myself to prioritize my time and dedicate my time for myself, to read my 10 pages, to snuggle on the couch with my dog and drink my hot coffee, and then get my first workout in, my first walk. And just that prioritizing time for myself was what I learned from this. My mental health, my mental toughness, I guess, that was prioritizing yourself.
Well, there's something about that morning time.
Yes.
Like there's just,
Quiet.
it's just different. It's just so different, especially when you're a parent. I think it's just magical. And it's hard when you have newborns because they're up a million times in the middle of the night. So you need to just stay in your bed, right? And then eventually when they're sleeping through the night, you can, I can make some time for myself during this time.
Well, and that's what my kids are finally a little bit older. They're 4 and 5. They're a little more independent. And now I can finally get myself back, just my whole self. Yes.
But there's also something to be said, even when you're not a parent. Like for me, waking up early, to have that time to slowly ease into your day.
True.
When it's quiet and it's dark, it's this time where you can actually hear yourself think and you're not playing catch up. Like you are starting ahead of the day and you are planning out your day, how you want it to go versus feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm running behind. So I think even if you're not a parent, there is such value in carving out even just a little bit of time before you have to start getting ready and developing these practices in the morning.
I get jealous of her that she's learning this 10 years before I did. I'm like, man, if I would have started this 10 years ago, what would my life look like now? How about you, Ray?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is kind of similar to hers, but different. Like even this morning, I was out of bed by 3:30, I think. That's the time like I can focus like and read and take notes and just kind of just chill. And that's weird for me to love doing that now, where it's just like, okay, you're reading. And like this morning I got done reading. I was like, well, I get some time. I don't need to go. So I played video games for like 20 minutes and I was just like, okay, cool. Like I'm going to keep doing this. And I think the biggest thing too with like on the mental aspect of it was knowing where I wanted to put my energy. And that's like into us, into like my business, her business, and like my full-time job. It's not even a third of my life anymore because it's not full-time. Like we're flex. So that's not important. And I don't let it be like the running factor and stress anymore. I'm trying not to. I think I'm getting a little bit better with that in the last week, I would say.
Well, just as a background too, Ray is a personal trainer, has a side business. So you're not just like this millionaire that has like.
Correct. So like.
You do have another job.
And one thing.
Or maybe you're a millionaire. You could be a millionaire. I don't know, but I know that you have another job.
So one of the things that I talked about this in a post a couple days ago that I think was my biggest mental lesson is being disciplined with myself, but tolerant of other people and what they're doing. But I really struggle still with people saying like they're too busy for stuff. So like I'll walk you through like our day. Like I get up at 3:30, 3:45, read. I like dragging my feet in the morning a little bit. And, she gets up. We were out walking together most days by 5:10ish. Mm-hmm. And we'd walk stop sign to stop sign in front of her house 5 days a week. I have a training client that comes to my house at 6 a.m. to 7. Then 4 other days a week, I have somebody right away at 7. Hinge Health at 8. Bring Sutton to school. Sometimes a 2-hour run. Jiu-jitsu, work, pick up Sutton from school, work till like 5. And then, so it's like I was busy, quote unquote, for 14 hours to start my day, but I got a lot done. And so I still struggle with when people are like, I don't have time to do X. And that's where I think I'm a firm believer now. Most people, not everyone, should do this once in their life. So they can see, like, I was seeing how many gaps I had in my day where I deleted games off my phone. And then I was like, okay, I don't need to do this. My screen time on my phone from the start of 75 hard, because I was curious, because you know how the thing pops up and tells you. My screen time from when I started 75 hard to when I finished dropped 115%. It went from like 8 hours and 22 minutes a day to last week it was under 3.5 hours.
That's awesome.
Wow. So it forced you to get very intentional with your time.
Correct. And I was like, I'm not going to waste it playing like Generation Z alien zombie apocalypse or 7 hours of Candy Crush.
Yeah. Which it's cool though that you still were able to play video games, right? Like you still made time for things where you can kind of, I say unplug, technically you're plugged into something, but you know what I mean? That's like mindless. And a lot of people, especially parents, sorry, Brooke, I know I keep going back to this, but they want time where they don't have to think and they can turn their brain off just like anybody else does too. But the fact that that's weaved into, I don't know. It's something I didn't expect you to say with this time. It feels like 75 hard is going to be like zero leisure time and like no fun.
No, but it's kind of, I look at it though, like, so back in the day in college, like in the fall, that's when I got the best grades. But I also had football practice, I had lifting, I had meetings. So like I had to be very intentional when I was going to study. And then when I stopped playing football, I was like, well, it's Wednesday at 4, there's happy hour at 4:30. I don't have anything to do. I have a test Friday. I can do that tomorrow. So I do very, very well when I have structure, a lot of it, where I'm like, okay, I have all these things I need to do. I need to be very precise with my time.
Yeah. Well, and I know you said, and you were talking about discipline, you say discipline equals freedom.
That's a Jocko thing. I didn't make that up.
Right. But you're realizing it too.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And I think people misconstrue what that means. And I've taken a different look at it too. If I'm disciplined now, right, in 30 years, when we retire, we will have the freedom to do whatever we want. Or if I'm disciplined 29 out of 30 days a month and I want to go to, well, I'm going to St. Louis this weekend. I'm going to be hanging out with, it's like a bunch of boys. We're acting like high school kids planning a college party, and our parents are out of town. Like I can go do that and just know that, okay, my habits are going to be really good up until about 7:30 at night for 3 days. Okay, cool. When I get back, I'll be right back to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm curious too. Jolene, I know you, in your post about 75 hard, you said, you know, thinking about what it's going to be like when you're done with this, like what your habit's going to be like with alcohol and other things. And so I'm curious, one, about alcohol, just like what that looks like now and what you learned, but with the other habits too, now that it's over.
I think it was hard because, you know, when you're doing 75 hard, it's like check. I did all these boxes. I'm very disciplined, you know, because I have to be. And then when you're not doing it, I had the freedom. I don't have to check any boxes. Nobody's looking over my shoulder. Not that they were, but you don't report to anybody. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of hard coming off of that, just that mental piece of I can do what I want or not do what I want and have a little bit of flexibility and freedom. But then I found myself still waking up at the same time and still these are my habits and why am I still doing this? Like, maybe I liked it. Like it kind of felt good. But with the alcohol, I think I was scared for a while. Like, what was it, Halloween? And
yeah, yesterday was legitimately your first drink. I
know, but going back to Halloween, Ray's like, oh, I'll get you, I don't know what you even said. And I kind of stopped. I'm like, I don't think I can. Like, can I? Like, for myself, am I able to have a drink and just have one? Mm-hmm. Or is it going to turn back into, I was scared of that process of starting again. And so last night we did go out for our anniversary and I had a drink and then came home and had another drink. And like, this is not what I missed at all, actually.
How did it feel like in your body compared to what you remember?
It just wasn't that fun. It wasn't, no, I guess it didn't feel good. It didn't feel productive. It didn't feel like I saw a quote this morning, or maybe you posted it. Like I've never woke up one morning and wish I had drank the night before. And that's how I felt like, yeah, I didn't really miss this. I liked being on and sharp in the morning and just present.
For me, that's the freedom. Like, that's what I've noticed as I've started to feel better within my own healing journey. And I haven't drank since Andrew's birthday, which is in the beginning of September.
Wow.
I know. I was thinking about that. And this weekend I had the opportunity to drink, and I'm on antibiotics, so I really shouldn't. And I was kind of going back and forth. And what you posted, Ray, was exactly how I felt. Because last week we were at a wedding, and Sunday waking up not hungover, I'm like, this is amazing. But when you have the energy and you feel good, it's like, for me, that's freedom, because I can come and look at things in a clear head, and I feel like I'm not just doing things automatic. Like, I have that control of how do I want to act and what is going to set myself up for success. And when you go so long without it and then you have it again, it's like, it's just different.
Yep. Well, that's what you noticed. You took a drink of your beer and you're like, I don't even like this anymore. It doesn't taste the same.
So I ordered like my favorite beer yesterday, and I like took a drink of it, and I was like, this is gross.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, okay. And then so I drank it just because it was there, and then I like got a mango blonde, like something like fruity. And I was like, I drank like a sip of it, and I left it at the table. And then I got home, and I'm like, okay, I was going to see if it's whiskey too. So I tried
Try all of it.
So I tried some
Have a
whiskey
sampler.
too, and I was just like, okay, this is still good, but
Yeah,
no.
But do I actually like it?
And that's what I was. And then I texted her today after jujitsu, and I was like, I was slow today. I like wasn't as fast. I was breathing way heavier than normal. And I'm like, my relationship with alcohol will be few and far between. And this is coming from me, who used to have a huge bourbon collection. And even this weekend, I told the guys, I'm like, hey, I'm still going to come. I'm going to have a good time, but we need to drive to Illinois before we get started, so I can purchase some things, because I'm not going to drink. And they're like, cool, we can do that. And then one of the guys is like, no. He owns his own proprietary like marijuana brand. So like, he's like, I got you covered. I was like, sweet. But yeah, like, I don't think, like, if I ever get drunk again, I think it would be very far in the future.
I think it's something about the break of it. And I mean, obviously it is a very long break, but I'm doing a challenge right now that you two inspired me, by the way. Thank you so much. I made a 30-day challenge for myself. And one of the challenges is to drink just one day a week. So I didn't drink this past week till Saturday. And Sunday morning before church, when I'm like getting ready, getting my house put back together, all these things, I thought the worst thoughts about myself.
Oh, interesting.
I had thoughts about stupid things I said in like high school and in college. And like 3 months ago, I was beating myself up about, like, it was wild. And I was observing it. I was like able to observe it because it's an experiment, right? Like, what is happening in my brain? Everything was slower, muddled. Brooke and I had a meeting. I felt like words weren't coming out of my mouth clearly. It affected me the entire day from the night before. And it's like, worse sleep too and all these things. But yeah, alcohol is powerful.
And I don't think you really realize it until you have that break, right? In our culture, it's so normalized and pushed.
Yes.
And then you have a conversation like this, and I'm like, my people, yes. But everyday, I don't want to say everyday people, but the majority of people, it's like they don't even know how good they can feel. And
it's
just
tough to take it away. So that's why they don't want to do it. And that's why they don't want you to push what you're doing on them. Because it's hard to not. Like, you have to be
I think it's something you have to do. You have to want it yourself.
Yes.
Right? Like, you both wanted this for yourself.
I did not want to.
You're not what?
I did not. So how many times did I say for like the first 6 days?
Oh, yeah.
I used Ed Milet's dad's thing. I'm like, okay, I can do this one more day. Yeah. And then once I got past day 10, I was like, I think I was on cruise control after that. I didn't like have
What do you think that is? What do you think the 10 days?
Like getting over a hump.
Yeah, I just...
Maybe getting used to a new routine, a new structure, something. It's a lot. And it's a lot of demand on yourself.
And I cared too much what was going on at work. Like, I would get pissed about stupid stuff, and I'm like, okay, I need a drink to deal with the stupidity that I deal with.
And knowing you can't have it.
Yeah, right. And then I have 7 bottles of whiskey sitting 3 feet behind me, which I never moved. They sat there the whole time. And it was just, that was it still is. And that's why I'm kind of still scared of alcohol, because in that way regard is like, it's a coping mechanism for 99, I would say, % of people who drink it. And I was breaking a coping mechanism. And that's what was hard for me. But then like I read something in one of the books I read, which one was it? Anyways, there's a quote in there where it was like, the gist of it was like, are you that lame of a person you can't have a good time without alcohol? And that was like, I don't think I'm a shitty person. Like, I think I'm kind of fun. And so that kind of like got me going too. And I was like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah. It's like, can I show up and just be me? And is that good enough to have a good time with someone? Or am I able to just figure out how to enjoy myself without using a substance?
Yeah. And why do I have to have all these negative after effects just to numb a behavior, to have a good time for like an hour?
Because those long-term things, they're long-term, right? It's those impulse. It's right what's in front of you. It's hard to not.
Yeah. Well, and what you said, Ray, about like the discipline, being disciplined now equals freedom later. It's like you are playing the long game. Yeah, it's not right. Like being uncomfortable in the moment, getting up at 3:30 a.m. Like I'm curious what positive and healthy coping mechanisms you've now gained, both of you, doing 75 hard, because you haven't had those outlets.
Well, I got up and took my happy ass on a walk this morning. That's one. And depending on my mood, if I'm not walking with her, because like we would walk stop sign to stop sign, I'd say we did that probably 30 times, I would be listening to a podcast. Like if I was in a really good mood, it would be like a Jocko, a Lex Friedman, where it's like, okay, this is going to be heavy. I got to pay attention, listen. Or if I was in a shitty mood, the most hilarious podcast on planet Earth is the Kill Tony podcast.
Okay.
So, and
Who's Tony?
If I he's
Tony.
He's Tony Hinchcliffe. He's the host of the show.
Oh.
So he's a comedian. He's like one of like the best in the world. He hosts a podcast at a comedy club in Austin, and it's live. And so what they do is when you get there, it's an open mic. You get 1 minute, and so he pulls your name out of a hat. And then he has like world-class comedians up there, and they give you feedback. They roast you. They bust their balls. And there was one time I was walking, it was in the afternoon after one of my long runs, and I was like huddled over walking in the street. I was like crying, laughing, and our neighbors drove away. So I texted him after, and I was like, hey, I was just laughing at a podcast, just so you don't think I was like going crazy. But just pulling different levers that I needed to start my day was something that was my biggest coping mechanism. Is if I was in a shitty mood, it was Kill Tony, because I would like literally cry. It's so funny. And then I don't know, I think I was more present with you guys too. Like I wasn't hiding, playing video games or drinking, and then, just roughhousing with Knox. And I honestly think our marriage improved, I would say, leaps and bounds, because we had that 45 minutes to talk. Yeah. And just connect, and like not with the kids there or nobody else, because nobody's up at that time. So it's not neighbors trying to talk to us as like we're walking. And so I think that was another coping mechanism, is just having that time with you to like talk through shit we were dealing with. I mean, some of the walks were very uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, some of the walks, well, I would say in majority, we were just talking and connecting and reconnecting again and just talking. 5:30 in the morning, we were walking back and forth on our street. And I think there was one day, I don't know, you know what it was about, but it was like, okay, Ray, could you lower your voice? Like neighbors are sleeping and you're
I was
yelling.
just fired up. I wasn't yelling at her.
No,
I was just
like,
mad about something we were talking through. And yeah, I think that was another coping skill, I think, just being us having that time to talk.
And forcing ourselves to actually talk. Versus you're downstairs playing video games, drinking, and I'm upstairs, I don't even know what,
Shutterfly.
And so we just came together, and that was a good mechanism. I think for me, waking up in the morning and just having that dedicated time, and I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, except for yours, but like I like the quiet, and I would walk and just notice and kind of practice gratitude of just listening to the birds wake up and the sunrise and just the quietness, and be still in that moment and have time for my own thoughts or no thoughts at all, and just be present and be with myself. And then I could get back to my day, and before I'm with everybody else and pulled in all these directions for everyone else. So that was a good mechanism, coping mechanism, better.
I feel like when you experience that, then you can come back to it. Like if you're never that quiet, you just never feel that peaceful. Your nervous system's too wired and busy and frantic, right? But if you start it with that, I don't know, there's something about doing that if things get wild around you the rest of the day, you're like, you still got a piece of that zen in there or something.
Something I want to go back to too is I think what I'm seeing and hearing you guys say is when you take time to work on you, the relationships around you change too. Like you're giving other people permission. Like you prioritized you, but at the end of the day, your relationship got better.
Oh, 1,000.
No, like it
We
wasn't.
never expected that at all. It was more of like, I'm doing this, you're doing this. We'll do it together, but like not together. And then it kind of, towards the end, it came and we were doing it together.
Well, like on Saturday, I was like exhausted. We stayed in a hotel because I had that race on Saturday. It was my last day. So I woke up at like 3:15 to read, get my walk in, then waited 3 hours to the minute because it was a rolling start to start my race at 7:09 or whatever it was. And I was like, I told her, I was like, okay, this is how much water I have left. It was in my glass and that was the only thing I had left. But I went to bed at 6:30 on Saturday night. And she Sunday morning, she's like, did you drink all your water? Did you drink all your water? So it was like this, just making sure we helped each other too, check in with stuff. And
Yeah, I think, yes, we always have been good about that, but
yeah.
All right. What do you think was the hardest part? Jolene, let's start with you.
I think in the beginning, waking up early and setting my alarm, like I said, creeping it back 10 minutes each day before, and now I'm waking up at 4:40 in the morning. That was hard every day. In the beginning, I feel like it was hard. Then all of a sudden my body just kind of woke up at that time. Then it's Saturday. I'm like, why am I awake this time? Like,
So what time are you going to bed?
well, now 9:30, 10:30. So I do, because I need my time at the end of the night too, for a show or, just to unwind. So I would say 10. By 10, I'm sleeping. I don't need that much sleep, obviously. But so by 10 o'clock, I'm sleeping, and then 10:30, and then I'm waking up at 4:40. That waking up was hard for me. The water was hard too. When you had this big jug of water, it was just a daunting task every day. And thankfully, my job, I'm back and forth walking between the halls with kids that I can stop by the bathroom every 20 minutes, where if I was a teacher in a classroom, there's no way. I mean, okay, I can't say no way because I don't know, but it was much easier for me to take a bathroom break. Trying to do a 45-minute walk, like, 2.5 miles without a bathroom near was very hard. So I had to adjust. Now I'm just walking around my block 12 times so I could quick go into the bathroom. So that was hard. Mm-hmm. Things you don't think about that you don't know about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about you, Ray?
My outside of the first 10 days was Saturday and Sunday for me, because I would get up in the morning and have anywhere from a 3 to 5 hour run. And then I would come home, eat, watch whatever college football game started at 11. And then at 3 o'clock, my legs are, you know how tight you are after you ran a marathon. Like there's multiple weekends where I've ran back to back 24, 25, 26, 24.
Because why?
I was going to say, let's preface
Tell the
why.
listeners why you're running.
I'm
that
training for
under-
100.
Okay.
100-mile race in February. And so dragging my ass off the couch and I hate walking on the treadmill. Like, I don't think I did one single walk on the treadmill. No. Getting back outside and just walking, when I was like, I'd look down at my watch. I'm like, you already have 50,000 steps today and you're going to go walk. But looking back on this now, it is something I'm going to continue because of the recovery that it was giving me. Mentally, it was the hardest thing about 75 hard for me, was dragging my ass off the couch Saturday and Sunday to go do that second workout. Physically, I think is what got me through 75 hard, still able to train and do the things I was doing, like the jiu-jitsu, the lifting, the walking, the running. I think that's what allowed me to do that. And so that's why I got my happy ass out of bed this morning and went for a walk, and I'll do it tomorrow.
So what are you saying to yourself, though, on those days that it's not easy? Like, clearly you followed through with all these things for 75 days. You did it. We're talking about how you crushed it, right? But like, what about the days when you you're thinking negative thoughts about yourself. Like what's that like? Like what are you saying and how are you kind of working through that?
Well, we have two things we say. Well, we say it to each other a lot. You can do hard things. Mm-hmm. I have something I say to myself a lot. Like somebody actually sent me a bracelet. It broke like a year ago. And then like we have those plaque cards that say it. It says harden the fuck up. Mm-hmm. And I think there's something to that too. Like Jocko has a thing where it's an Instagram reel that's like trending right now. Somebody, the Chris RX guy asked him, he's like, you know, you get up every day, you know, you show your watch at 3:30. He's like, how do you do that? He goes, my alarm goes off. I get out of bed. And so that's kind of something I've tried to use for like, I said, I'm going to do this. So I'm going to get up and do this. On Saturday, I had the worst race experience of my life. I won't say the name of the race, but their merch table was bigger than their aid station. Okay. So A, rubbed wrong right away. The course description was the exact opposite of what it was the actual day of.
That's not safe.
So
either of those things.
I would say Saturday at 4 p.m., I was not doing the 100. I was not going to do it anymore because I had zero fun doing an ultra race this weekend. Was supposed to run yesterday. I texted my coach. I said, hey, I'm just going to take the day to get my shit together. He said, good call. And so like now I told her, was it yesterday or this morning?
I don't even know what you're going to go for, what you said.
Where I said, I'm going to do the 100, but I'm not bringing anyone else with me anymore. I was going to have a pacer. I was going to have somebody there who's like their ex-wife's done this same race like 3 or 4 times and just have like a crew there. But no, like I just want it to be me and her. And so remember, I think it was this morning because I was like, hey, you just got to be able to run 20 miles at like a 15-minute mile pace if I need a pacer. That's all you need to do.
That's all I need to do.
And how do you feel about that, Jolie?
I love all these big goals you have that now I'm sucked into.
So why did you make this decision?
Because I saw how I let outside factors influence how I ran, how I felt, and how my mindset was. I don't want to train for this. And on February 2nd, my friend from St. Louis's wife, her flight gets canceled because there's a snowstorm in St. Louis. Now I'm mentally fucked, right? Because I was relying on her to run with me from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Now she's not there. That would screw with me, and I know I'm not there yet. Brandon still might come just because I think it'd be nice for you to have somebody to sit with for 24 hours and not be by yourself in a state park. And he would just be logistics, like helping with food. Like if I need something, he would run to the store and get it. But I don't like, other than you, because you've never let me down, is relying on somebody else. And I relied on the experience that was presented, that it was going to be a good one. And this has been verified by like 20,000 people. The 100 I'm doing is like the best race experience you'll ever have in your life. So I want to remove as many potential mental blocks that could come up.
Mm-hmm. How do you think that applies to your experience with 75 Hard?
Well, I think I ran over 500 miles in the 75 days. 90% of it self-supported. I mean, like you and the kids met me a couple times, like 2 blocks from the house because I thought I was dying. And like was chugging a Pedialyte walking home. And I mean, you ran 12 miles with me. So I just think I'm better. Like when it comes like training, I'm enjoying the training process minus the fact that it is a part-time job. I'm running 20 hours a week right now. When it comes to the day, and we talked about this a little bit with the 50 miler too, if I wouldn't have been training alone the whole time, when my friend who I was running with hurt her ankle and I had to leave her, I would have been screwed if I was only used to running with like a group of 3 or 4 people and having that. And I saw that in the race this weekend too, because I ran with a guy from Wisconsin for a little bit and we were chit-chatting and it brought my mood up big time. But if I don't have that, I don't want to crumble to it. Mm-hmm. And I learned that during 75 Hard, that I can do hard things alone with a little bit of support. I don't want to rely on somebody though for that in the day of the event.
It sounds like having the trust in yourself.
Correct.
Yeah. Jolene, for you, when the alarm went off and you're not used to getting up that early, what were you saying to yourself?
I think it kind of goes back to what I was noticing with my kids and just what they were seeing of me before I started this. You know, they would make comments of, kind of going back to the drinking, they would make comments of, they would equate an adult to drinking wine. And they would ask me, oh, is that person an adult? Do they drink wine? And I was thinking, they probably think that I'm an adult and I drink wine, so everybody drinks wine, and that's normal. And that I didn't want that to be their normal. And so I wanted to change, I guess, their perception and their opinion of what an adult was, what their mom was. There were days that I didn't want to do my workout, like dragged myself out to the gym in our garage. And then there was Knox right there with me doing the push-ups and the pull-ups and what's next, mommy? What's next? My turn. And just, I wanted to change that relationship and the outlook that they had on life of what it means to be healthy, what it means to, you know, work your body and why we're doing that. And just, I want to be an example for them to see both of us working and doing something that we said we were going to do and explaining why we're doing that for them and for ourselves and just be that model.
There's got to be so many lessons that they see within this, like the integrity of showing up when you said you're going to do it, you're going to do it. Them seeing you physically, like, yeah, you have a workout before they're up, but then you have another one. So they see that. So it's kind of cool how it's set up where like you have to drink so much water that they're going to see you drinking water. And and then there's the food piece of it. Is that a struggle at all for either of you to kind of stick to the, and specifically, what did you guys both say you would do and stick to with food?
Like clean, flexible dieting.
Yep.
Which means what?
Tracking macros, but like it wasn't, you know, making a bag of Doritos fit or making like an Oreo fit. It was
Well, and I think, you know, like you can't have candy, you can't have chocolate, you can't make it fit. So then I was at work and then, you know, they had the big spread of food every Friday and I would walk through and it's like, it makes you make different choices for yourself. Yeah, I can make it fit. I could have this donut and then I could be hungry the rest of the day because I ate that one donut. But do I actually want that donut or do I just want it because it's there? So it just retrained my own brain of my choices and what I wanted and what I didn't want.
So you had like you could have a donut, but it needed to fit within like a calorie?
No. So this diet that we were on, because it's 75 hard, you can't make junk food fit.
Okay.
It has to be the clean eating, yeah. And so just making better choices. And so I was eating a lot of food actually because I was training harder. So I was eating more food than I think what people realize
yeah, you ate a
women
ton.
can eat. Yeah.
Well, and the hardest part with the food for me was, so I had like my base set of food calories I would eat for a day. But then when I'd run anything longer than 2 hours, I would eat back about 40% of what my watch said I burned. And I mean, there was days like my macros, and if you don't understand this, just Google it if you want to like hear how absurd this is. 700 carbs and 250 grams of fat. Like, how do you do that without junk food?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How did you?
So I would, about an hour after I got done with each of my long runs, I would go to Subway. I would get foot-long sub, double meat, cheese, like mayo. And that was like, that sandwich alone is like 1,500 calories. But I told her the other day, I was like, she watched me inhale one on Saturday in the car. Like I bought it in River Falls and it was gone before we got to Hudson. So eating that much food was very, very hard. Because there was a time I was around day 40, that I was like, okay, I need to stop losing weight. Because I was losing like 3 pounds a week. And so I just kept upping my calories, and the scale was like, the bottom was falling off. And I think a lot of that has to do with the effects that alcohol has on your metabolism, how you metabolize fat, how you metabolize carbohydrate. You know, my natural testosterone is coming back up. Like I'm on TRT, but then my natural levels were starting to come up too. So it was like my body is still like running super, super efficiently. Like the amount of food I'm eating right now just to try to maintain my weight is over 4,000 calories a day. And that math doesn't work. Like was talking to Emily. I was bouncing some ideas off of her, and she's like, yeah, I don't know why you keep losing weight because you're eating so much food, but just keep adding more until it stops. And it's still, I mean, by Fridays of most weeks, I'm still down again, and that's not the goal. But it's like, how much food can I eat?
I think it shows, too, the control that you have over your body, right? And your mind. Like, there's, whether you're doing it for you, because what I heard you say, right, was it was like that internal, you know, harden up. And then Jolene, for you, it's, I want to be an example, and it's greater than you. And so everyone has a different reason to do it. And the benefits are your mind, your body, you know, you're taking that time in the morning, whether that's like for spirituality or whatever it may be for you. Like, there's so many different benefits, and the reasons for doing it are different too. So I'm curious what you two would each say to someone who, you know, is like, absolutely not, this is ridiculous. And then also the other side of it of, maybe I want to do it, but I could never do 75 days of all of that.
What's my relationship with this person?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll use my friend Siobhan, for example.
Okay.
On Saturday when I posted that I was done at like 6:30, he was on my podcast, a 75-page long text message, and then called me like 6 times. Just like super excited. He started, today's day one for him.
No.
And I told him something at jiu-jitsu today that's not appropriate for anybody's ears about like just following through with it. Cause he started and stopped. Now I think he's around like 10 times. So him was a different conversation. If it's you, I would say do it. Start tomorrow. Don't give yourself the excuse. You're capable of doing it. You just have to want to. And for like your goals of running and, you know, getting faster and, you know, doing that, like it's only going to help you. And then like, I don't know you as well, but if you're like, okay, I'm on the fence, I kind of want to give this a go, I would ask you what you have to lose from doing it.
Well, the holidays are coming up and it's cold out.
Yeah.
You know what, though? There's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear. And then the other thing, too, is name a time over 365 days where there's not a holiday, there's not a birthday, there's not a wedding, there's not an anniversary, there's no perfect time. And I saw that, like, as I was getting ready to come here, I saw a thing. It's like, if you always wait for the perfect time to do something, you'll never do anything in your life.
Perfect doesn't exist.
Yeah.
What about the person who's like, you know, like going out to eat with people or the family at Thanksgiving? Like, I don't want to be that person.
That was me. Like that was because my family's, you will eat the food I make you. And if you don't have seconds or thirds, now I'm really offended. Like you have to, that feeling that you have to eat it or you have to participate, and you're not really participating if you're not drinking or eating and that was hard for me in my family and just my friends. And I learned that I'm still here. I'm still present. I'm still at your party, but maybe I brought my own food, or maybe I'm going to have one of, you know, whatever's served. Or do I need to have alcohol? Do you actually remember me drinking or not? Like, you know, are you really paying that close attention to me? And if you are, that's an issue in itself. But you don't need the food and the alcohol to have a social relationship with anybody.
Why does it bother you so much?
Yeah. And I didn't miss out. I had my mom's 70th birthday party. We were there. We pre-tracked our food just privately by ourselves. We participated, but nobody noticed that we didn't have a piece of cake. And if they did, they didn't need to be, it's not their business. But I was still there and participated. My mom remembers me being there. She knows that I love her. I was there, but I didn't need to have that cake to show her that I loved her.
Well, and that's like, she was bummed out because like Knox's birthday was when we were both doing 75 hard. My birthday was through there. And I asked her like a week after Knox's birthday, because she was like bummed she wasn't being able to have one of the cake that she made. And I was like, what flavor was the cake you made 6 days ago? And she didn't know. Kids are having a great time.
Oh my goodness, they're screaming up there.
They're little besties now. I love it.
But again, I think it comes down to like, and this is one thing that bothers me about people who choose to not like live a healthy lifestyle. Like, are you going to eat a little? Are you going to live a little? Blah, 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 blah. Like, is it appropriate for me to be like, how's that type 2 diabetes treating you? Like, why is that not socially acceptable, but the other way is?
Why is me feeling good and taking care of me offending you?
Right.
so much.
Yeah. When something, Ray, that you posted the other day and you've talked about before, and I think it's important to talk about is the social support aspect, is the people in your life that are true friends, you know, that care about your well-being. They won't try and pull you away from something like this.
They want to see you win.
Right.
And so like our neighbors, who actually become, I'd say, fairly close to over the last 2 years. They love our kids. We love them. Like, honestly, they surprised me the most about how supportive they were of us.
Well, they'd see us walking back and forth. Probably at first, like, look
What
at
are
those
you
crazy
doing?
neighbors. Yeah, it's 5:30 in the morning.
But like on Halloween, like they were both drinking. They didn't even offer us one. They knew what we were doing. I got a congratulation text, like super supportive. But then we have people in our lives who are, you know, complete 180s of that, who are, some are family, some are like quote unquote close friends who aren't as supportive. So it's like, if you don't want to see the people who you say are the closest to you win, do you like want anybody to do well in their life? And that was another thing, like the relationships wise, like I made a decision that was, I think you're still not comfortable with. I'm not going to name any names, but like I'm done like catering to other people's wishes. Like no, that's the answer. I'm either not eating that, not drinking that, or I'm not going to that anymore to make you feel good.
What would you say to someone that's like, yeah, but you're depriving yourself and you're miserable. Yeah, you're skinny, but you're miserable. I'm over here. I'm happy. I might be a little fat, but I'm happy and I'm having my beer. What would you say to them?
If I have somewhat of a relationship with them, I would ask them how comfortable they are naked. Are you happy? Like, when's the last time you truly enjoyed being naked with your husband or wife and weren't self-conscious and you could truly enjoy it? When's the last time you could get on that airplane and not feel like you had 20,000 eyes on you? Because I've had all these feelings. Like, we didn't have that much sex on our honeymoon, A, because I was sick as shit, and B, because I was so self-conscious of how I looked. I had this smoke show wife with a tub of goo, you know, and that was part of it. And I would, if they were being truthful, if you dosed them with mushrooms and said, how do you really feel? They're the most unhappy people, the ones who outwardly tell you how happy they are when you know they're not.
And something that, if you have been following your journeys and the pictures you're posting, I like got teary-eyed one day. You posted a picture of you and it was such a genuine smile. And it was like, oh my God, like that's a real smile right there. Like, you know, when people take a selfie, this was like, I was so happy for you.
You commented on that.
Yeah, because it was radiating out of you. And same with you, Jolene, when you posted a picture, I don't know if you're getting coffee or something, it was like, oh my gosh, your skin, your smile. Like, it's like not just physical, right? Like, yes, it's your face on social media, but it's pouring out of you. It's this happiness, it's this joy. And so I'd love for you to talk about that. Like, where does that joy come from and those real smiles now that you've learned the lessons you've learned?
I think for me, just starting my day off for myself and just quietly easing into my day, like you said, Brooke, and just carving out time just for me. It gave me time to think and not cloud it with alcohol, not cloud it with social media or anything else, and just really realize what I wanted in life, what I wanted for myself, what I wanted for our family, and just my future. And it gave me time to think about and plan different activities and really realize where I was in life. And then I kind of caught up with my thoughts and started believing them. And, you know, I'm checking all my boxes off and doing all my tasks, and it felt good. Like, I did all of this today for myself, and I still have time for my family and my husband and all my kids at work, and I can do it all. And it was just this empowering feeling of that I can do this. I can choose myself. And then the smiles came and the confidence came, and yeah, I can pull my shirt on over my body, and it actually looks good. I can wear these pants I haven't worn in 2 years, like legit, and it feels good. And I kind of like this feeling and this momentum, and it gets going and rolling, and it does feel good. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize it even radiated. I see it in him. Mm-hmm. I can see it in him. I told that to Ray. I'm like, you actually have a genuine smile that I haven't seen in months, I would say
a year.
Year.
I mean, it's been 348 days since my neck surgery. So, but for me, is I trust myself again. I don't need, like, your long-winded answer was great, but like,
I'm long-winded, Ray.
I trust myself again. That's it. Like, I truly trust myself again.
Well, last time you were here, you were saying like you were in the process of building that. So it sounds like 75 hard kind of got you back to where you were wanting to go. Thank you for tuning in. Catch part 2 tomorrow, November 24th, 2022, which also happens to be Brooke's birthday.